You know the sound. That subtle crack when you lean back just a little too far in your office chair. Or that moment you spill a glass of water on your coffee table, and 10 minutes later the surface starts bubbling up like a blister. Feels like bad. What if I told you it wasn't? What if I told you that wobbly leg was planned before the tree was even cut down? Welcome to the age of fast furniture. Let's go back for a second. I want you to close your eyes and picture your grandmother's dining room. You know the one. Maybe it smelled like lemon polish and old dust, but think about the table in the center of that room. It was a beast. It was probably made of solid oak or mahogany, heavy enough that if you stubbed your toe on it, you were the one who broke, not the table. That furniture was an inheritance. It was something you fought over in a will. It had scratches that told stories, marks from a fork dropped in 1974, a ring from a coffee mug left in 1982. That table wasn't just furniture, it was a member of the family. Now, fast forward to today. Picture your first apartment. You walk into a big blue and yellow store. Or maybe you scroll through a website with a catchy name, and you buy a sleek, modern desk for $80. It arrives in a flat cardboard box that is suspiciously light. You spend 3 hours on the floor, surrounded by plastic wrap, sweating, twisting a tiny metal Allen wrench until your fingers cramped, trying to decipher instructions that look like hieroglyphics. You finally flip it over, and it looks okay. It looks clean, but deep down, you know the truth. You know that if you try to move this desk across the room by dragging it, the legs might just snap off. You know that if you disassemble it to move to a new house, the screws will never grip the same way again. It is disposable. It is temporary. This shift didn't happen overnight. It was a slow, calculated slide into mediocrity, and it fundamentally changed the way we live. To understand how we got duped, we have to look at the anatomy of what we are actually buying. For centuries, furniture making was simple. You cut down a tree, you seasoned the wood, you cut it to shape, and you joined it together. Wood is a living material. It expands, it contracts, but it holds together because of its natural grain. But solid wood is expensive. It takes time to grow, and it takes skill to craft. So, the industry started looking for shortcuts. First came plywood. This wasn't bad, honestly. Thin sheets of wood glued together in alternating grains. It was strong, it was stable, and it was cheaper. Mid-century designers like the EMS couple did incredible things with it. But it wasn't cheap enough for the mass market aimed at infinite growth. So, the industry invented MDF, medium-density fiberboard. This is where the soul of the furniture began to die. MDF is basically sawdust mixed with glue and resin pressed under high heat until it forms a board. It's heavy, it's dense, and it has absolutely no grain. It's essentially a giant hard sponge. If you've ever seen a piece of cheap furniture get wet and swell up like a loaf of bread, that's MDF drinking the water. Once it swells, it never goes back. But the race to the bottom didn't stop there. The manufacturers realized that even sawdust costs money. They needed something cheaper, something lighter. Enter particle board. This is the stuff that looks like oatmeal if you break it in half. It's rougher, weaker, and uses larger chips of wood waste. It holds screws about as well as a block of cheddar cheese. If you over-tighten a screw in particle board, you just churn up dust, and suddenly, your bookshelf is leaning to the left. And yet, even particle board wasn't the final frontier. In the last decade, we have entered the era of what the industry calls honeycomb paper. If you buy a thick, chunky-looking coffee table from a fast-fashion home store today, you might be surprised by how light it is. You can pick it up with one hand. That's because it's a lie. If you were to take a saw and cut that table in half, you wouldn't find wood. You wouldn't even find sawdust. You would find 2 paper-thin sheets of veneer, sandwiching a literal cardboard honeycomb structure. It is mostly air. It is the same structure used in packing boxes, just slightly reinforced. You are effectively paying for a cardboard box dressed up in a woodprint costume. This is the technical side of planned obsolescence. This term usually gets thrown around when we talk about iPhones slowing down or light bulbs burning out, but it is rampant in your living room. The engineers designing these pieces know exactly how long they will last. They know that the laminate glue has a lifespan. They know the cardboard core can only take so much weight before it sags. They aren't designing a table to be passed down to your grandchildren. They are designing a table to last until you get bored of the color or move to a new zip code. It creates a cycle of dependency. Because the furniture is cheap, we accept that it breaks. Because it breaks, we have to buy more. We have stopped treating our possessions as assets and started treating them as subscriptions. You don't really own that $30 bookshelf. You're just renting the utility of it for 18 months until the shelves bow and the back panel pops off. And the most frustrating part, we accepted this trade-off. We traded durability for aesthetic. We traded built to last for looks good on Instagram right now, but the materials are only half the story. The reason this trash is flooding our homes isn't just because wood is expensive, it's because of a massive invisible economic machine that decided it was more profitable to ship you air and cardboard than to ship you a tree, and that economic machine relies on a psychological trick that makes you love your garbage. So, why did we let this happen? Why did we trade the mahogany table for the cardboard honeycomb? The answer lies in the belly of a cargo ship crossing the Pacific Ocean. Shipping is the silent killer of quality. In the global economy, volume and weight are the enemies of profit. If you want to ship 1,000 solid oak dining chairs from a factory in Vietnam to a warehouse in Ohio, you are going to pay a fortune. They are heavy, they are oddly shaped, and they take up a massive amount of space. You can't stack them easily. You are essentially paying to ship dead air, the empty space between the chair legs. This is where the genius and the curse of the flat pack revolution comes in. By designing furniture that can be dismantled into flat, rectangular slabs, companies could fit 10 times more product into a single shipping container. They eliminated the dead air. But to make furniture flat packable, you have to change the materials. You can't easily drill and red-drill screws into solid hardwood without pilot holes and serious tools. But you can easily use cam locks and wooden dowels on standardized particle board sheets. The logistics dictated the design. We didn't get flat-pack furniture because it was better for the consumer. We got it because it was better for the shipping container. But there is a psychological layer to this con. Something marketers call the IKEA Effect. It's a cognitive bias that says people place a disproportionately high value on products they partially created. When you spend 4 hours sweating over that dresser, cursing the instructions, and finally hammering in that last nail, your brain tricks you. You feel a sense of pride. You look at that lopsided dresser and think, I made this. That emotional investment blinds you to the poor quality. You bond with the product because you suffered for it. It's a brilliant trap. They outsource the labor to you, and you love them for it. However, we can't blame it all on corporate greed. We have to look in the mirror. The rise of fast furniture mirrors the rise of the transient American life. 50 years ago, you bought a house and stayed there. Maybe you moved once. Today, especially for millennials and Gen Z, the housing market is a nightmare. You rent, you have roommates, you get a job in Austin, then a year later you move to Denver. When you move every 18 months, furniture becomes a burden. You do want to hire professional movers to haul a 300-pound oak wardrobe down 3 flights of stairs. It's cheaper and easier to drag your 20-pound particle board wardrobe to the curb, leave it for the garbage truck, and buy a brand new one in Denver for $200. The furniture is designed to be disposable because our lives have become disposable. We treat our living spaces like temporary campsites, and our furniture is just the tent we pitch for the night. But there is a bill coming due for this convenience, and we don't pay it at the checkout counter. The planet pays it. We are currently living through an environmental disaster that almost nobody talks about, waste or furniture waste. In the United States alone, we generate more than 12 million tons of furniture waste every single year. That number has exploded since the 1960s. Walk through any college town in August, right when the leases are up. The sidewalks are lined with skeletons, broken desks, sofas with sagging middles, bed frames snapped in half. It looks like a graveyard. And the tragedy is, almost none of it can be recycled. Remember that MDF and particle board we talked about? Because it is a mix of wood chips, plastic laminates, and chemical glues. You can't just chip it up and use it for mulch. The chemicals are toxic. You can't burn it for fuel, because it releases formaldehyde and other carcinogens into the air. And you certainly can't turn it back into wood. So, It goes to the landfill. That honeycomb paper table you bought, it will sit in a landfill for centuries. The plastic veneer won't decompose, the glue won't break down. We are filling the earth with the ruins of our temporary aesthetics. We are burying millions of tons of fast fashion for homes, creating a geological layer of beige laminate that future archaeologists will dig up and be baffled by. This is the fast furniture trap. We are caught in a loop of buying cheap, breaking cheap, and burying cheap. We have accepted the idea that a chair is a consumable good, like a tube of toothpaste or a loaf of bread, but it doesn't have to be this way. The only way to break the cycle is to change how we value the things we live with. It means looking at that squished up heavy wooden chair at the thrift store, the one that smells a bit like lemon polish, and seeing it not as old, but as a survivor. It means realizing that buying a table that lasts 50 years is actually cheaper than buying 5 tables that last 2 years. It means rejecting the sugar rush of a brand new aesthetic for the slow satisfaction of something built to last. Because eventually, everything breaks. The question is, when it does, can you fix it? Or do you just have to throw it away?